Hey, y'all. Thanks for tuning in here today. Just wanted to talk about something that I'm seeing a lot of, and I'm not hearing a lot of other people talk a lot about. And it's something that's very popular here and has always been very popular, and it's seller financing. So, right now, there's actually quite a bit of seller financing available out there. I'm actually working on a seller finance deal myself, so partial seller finance. So, it's called a seller carryback. They're financing a portion of the mortgage. Of course, the bank is okay with it. I'm not doing this illegally. Bank is okay with it, but they're financing a portion of it, so it can make it easier for us to buy it. And we will have to bring less to the table versus what the bank would have required. But I'm actually seeing a lot of this happen just on and off the MLS. So there's lots of these deals hanging around here in Central Texas. There's really easy ways to find them if you know what you're looking for. Also, a lot of times you have to ask. So it's just a simple question. And imagine that all you had to do was ask and you got what you wanted. But if you have the desire to do seller financing deals here in Central Texas, a lot of those are going to be listed on the MLS. You're going to have to negotiate the terms of that seller finance deal. So you basically have to negotiate the mortgage, which is something that not everybody is comfortable with or familiar with. But you can get lower down payments, you can get better rates, you can get longer terms, you can get longer amortizations. They could say, hey, I want a 5-year term and a 10-year amortization at 8%. You can say, well, that doesn't work for me. I want a 10-year term on a 40-year amortization and I want 5%. Maybe you meet somewhere in the middle there. But again, with seller financing, when there's no mortgage involved at all and the seller owns 100% of the property with no liens, it's it's just really wide open. You can do whatever you want. So again, if you're looking for seller financed opportunities, it's a great time to do that. If you don't know what seller financing is and you're just looking for a way to put less money down, seller financing can be great for that. But I find that a lot of times when people reach out about seller financing, that's really what they're looking for. They're looking for, how can I buy a property with no money down? I've not seen that happen more than that I could count on one hand. I've been selling real estate for 8 years. I've been buying real estate for 9 years. I have not seen that happen very often. I'm sure it happens out there. I know there's a lot of people selling that right now that, oh, you can buy with no money down and creative financing and subject to. Something that doesn't get talked about a lot is subject to is essentially mortgage fraud. I'm not a loan officer. I'm not an attorney, but I've talked to our brokers about it here at Keller Williams, and they're like, you personally, Jordan, cannot be involved in subject to deals because they're mortgage fraud. Now, if you're looking for something like subject to and you've got a little bit of cash to put down, seller financing is the next best thing and can't even be better. So subject to, you have to take over their entire mortgage. Seller financing, you're just paying them what the property is worth. Maybe you're paying them a little more because you're getting great terms. So it can work for both parties. The seller can get what they want as far as the price because they can give you, the buyer, great terms. And you say, okay, your price works for me because you're giving me a 5% mortgage amortized over 30 years. And I'm getting to put down, let's say 5 or 10% versus 20 or 25%. So I personally like seller financing better. I don't like tempting the gods, breaking the law. I've not done any subject to deals, will not do any subject to deals, and will stick with conventional mortgages, commercial bank mortgages, and seller financing, of course, whenever I can get it. But if you're somebody that's looking to get some creative real estate deals done right now, or your situation just doesn't look great for a lender, maybe you started a business a year or two ago and you're making a ton of money, but you just haven't quite shown that on your taxes yet. Seller financing can be great for that. Say you have 10 mortgages, 10 conventional mortgages, and you can't get any more conventional mortgages. Seller financing can be great for that. And say the deal only works if you got specific terms, say a lower interest rate or a lower down payment. And you're like, man, I just can't make it work with 20% down and 8%, which is where commercial bank debt is at right now for investment properties. We just did one at 8%. But maybe you couldn't make it work with 20% down at 8%, but at 15% down at 5%, looks like a phenomenal deal for you. Seller financing can work really well for that. Seller financing can work for almost anything. You just have to negotiate the terms and you have to get out there and try. Again, there are a lot of seller financing deals out there. And believe it or not, a lot of them are publicly advertised on the MLS. People just don't know how to look for them. They're out there. I would absolutely love to connect you with a list of them. And there's even more opportunities out there that aren't publicly advertising it, where you might just need to ask and explain the benefits of seller financing. That the seller is not going to have to pay that huge lump sum of tax all at once. It's going to be spread out over a longer period of time. So they're making less money and they're not bumping themselves up into a higher tax bracket. If you've got any more questions, always reach out here, jordan.moorhead@kw.com. If you'd love to see any seller finance or all of the seller finance properties here in Central Texas, reach out to me too. I'd love to connect you with one of our agents. Hope y'all are having a great day and look forward to talking to you here soon.